Legislature's back in session. Colleagues, when we broke, there was a call of the House because there was an objection to sending a resolution down to the voting file. I've been advised by legal counsel and our parliamentarian that though we have a rule of 8 in here for motions, that on a motion with an objection, that it's a majority of those present. And the reason for that is because if we were to have a rule of 8, we would have had what we had just before lunch. Nothing could move forward because there wouldn't be 8 if there was only 8 members on the floor. So the motion on the floor is to send the bill down to the voting file, and because there are only 11 of us in the room, it would take 6 votes. I mean, the call of the House. The call of the House is 6. And so we're going to just move forward. There's an emergency for one member, and the others just aren't responding. One's off island, so this will have to be the... Yes. Yeah, we'll take the call of the House, the vote for the call of the House at this point.
Mr. Speaker, I'll withdraw the motion if we can just vote to move it down to the vote.
Pardon?
I'll withdraw the motion for the call of the House if we can just have the motion to vote on the voting file, to move it down to the voting file.
All right.
Mr. Speaker, I would just like to rise to a point of personal privilege. If I may state my point of personal privilege, before the break, a vote was called on whether to place the resolution number 310 in the third reading file. And as is my right under the rules, I objected to moving the resolution to the third reading file for the reasons I stated in my debate on the resolution. 8 votes were required to place the resolution in the third reading file. No vote was taken on that motion because of a superseding motion for a call of the House. A call of the House is an undebatable motion, and yet debate was allowed, which questioned my right to object to the default movement of a resolution, in this case, into the third reading file, or a bill is not a default process. And I raise this point of personal privilege as to those remarks that question this right pursuant to our rules and question my intentions in demanding a vote pursuant to the rules. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The motion before the body now is just the motion to move to the third reading. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your...
Mr. Speaker, before we take that, and I know that, again, notwithstanding the House rules at this point, there was some mention about perhaps an amendment that needs to be made to this resolution. And if you'll allow, I would like to make it. And the resolution, or the amendment, is that there are some within our body, is to basically delete the section that calls this amendment the Vicente C. Pangilinan Amendment. And out of respect for some of our members, I have to at least mention here in this body, I would have to at least mention that to some, it may not be appropriate, or they don't believe it is appropriate. They may not be speaking right now on their sentiment, but I need to at least raise that issue. If we are going to introduce this resolution to Congress to add into the Organic Act an amendment, so be it. But so be it, without attaching the name of our former colleague, Senator Ben Vicente C. Pangilinan. And if the author would so perhaps agree to something like that, then perhaps we don't have to have much debate.
No objections, Mr. Speaker. The language was placed in there out of respect for the author of the law to which this resolution is drafted. But if the body feels that removing that is more preferable, then absolutely no objections.
So is there any objection to removing any mention of the late Senator Speaker Vicente Pangilinan? Any objection? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So the resolution as amended to the third reading, any objection? Thank you. I note the presence of the Attorney General in the House, and so in deference, we'll go back to the Safe Street Act, and since she's here, she can assist in clarifying any issues that you don't.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I'm just confused. I thought I had objected to that motion earlier, and you said
All
there
right.
was no objection. Isn't it the same
I'm
motion
sorry.
that we were on, or not?
All right, on the objection to sending Resolution 310 to the voting file, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Motion passes. There is a Chamorro land trust hearing at 5 o'clock. I will entertain a motion to recess until tomorrow morning at 9. Recess until tomorrow morning at 9.